What's happening, Manhwa champions? Don't forget to leave your feedback and smash that like button. Now let's dive into this epic tale. On a dimly lit night, beneath the soft glow of a high crescent moon, a beautiful yet solitary house stands quietly. Inside, a gentle cough breaks the silence, echoing faintly through the halls. In a modestly furnished room illuminated only by a flickering candle, two men sit across from each other, separated by a humble wooden table. Two cups rest silently upon it. Murmurs one man, his voice deep and weathered. I've waited decades, and yet you offer only one cup. You truly are cold-hearted. The speaker, an elderly man named Great Regression, gently strokes his long snow-white beard as years of hardship and wisdom mark his tired face. Across from him sits another man, clad in a warm blue robe. His silver hair, equally long but disheveled, partially obscures his eyes. Silently, he stares down at the lone cup before him. Ryongja leans forward, carefully pouring wine into his friend's cup, breaking their silence. Come to think of it, Ryongja continues softly, pouring himself another cup. When we first met, we were both young men full of ambition. How quickly the time has passed. Their eyes meet, sharing a silent, heavy gaze. The friend, bearing a distinct scar across his eye, looks deeply troubled as memories flood his thoughts. Ryongja, narrating with a reflective voice, adds quietly, "It was about 40 years ago when I first encountered this man." Suddenly, a younger version of the silver-haired man strides into a hall, clutching a sword firmly in his grasp. Ryongja's younger self turns, facing him directly, announcing, "The Great Regression Technique, a legendary achievement of the Gui family, a method studied and passed down through generations, nearly impossible to master. I have finally completed it." Images of a vast library, shelves overflowing with countless ancient texts, flash by. Ryongja, sitting among these treasures, initially smiles triumphantly at his breakthrough, only to later slam books down in frustration, crumpling pages in despair. 5 materials are needed, Ryongja says gravely, listing each with precision. The Thunder Bell, sacred artifact of the Heavenly Wind Cult. A majestic silver bell etched with mysterious symbols appears. The Divine Incense Brazier, treasured artifact of the Divine Dragon family. An ornate golden cauldron adorned with a mighty dragon glimmers vividly. The KOI essence of the 10,000-year carp. A vibrant golden blue carp gracefully swims beneath tranquil waters. The secret demonic soul of the demonic cult. An ominous pill radiating dark, pulsating energy comes into view. And finally, 5 million nyang, Ryongja concludes, shaking his head. I managed only the money. Everything else was beyond my reach. Yet you, my friend, acquired it all over decades, even vanishing mysteriously to procure the elusive secret demonic soul. Returning to the present, Ryongja stares into his wineglass, his own aged reflection distorted by ripples of wine. It's hard to believe, he mutters, astonished. How on earth did you obtain all those impossible materials? Without hesitation, the silver-haired man drains his cup in one decisive gulp. I despise that accursed technique for its absurd demands. I even thought about simply killing you, he admits bluntly. Ryongja remains composed, quietly sipping from his own cup, his expression unreadable. Internally, the silver-haired man reflects deeply. When we first met, we were both young, and now his hair is entirely white. The very AIR around him has changed drastically. Was such drastic transformation inevitable just to obtain these cursed materials? Breaking the intense silence, Ryongja finally asks, I've wanted to ask you for a long time now. Why exactly are you so desperate to return to the past? Suddenly, with shocking ferocity, the silver-haired man slams his cup down onto the table. Eyes blazing red with fury, he growls fiercely. For revenge! Ryongja recoils slightly, sweat trickling down his forehead as he cautiously questions further. Were your skills truly insufficient for revenge? Was regression your only option? Yes, comes the stern reply, laced with bitter resolve. Then who exactly do you hate so deeply? Ryongja whispers anxiously, dread coloring his voice. The silver-haired man leans forward, eyes burning intensely, uttering a single name, Hua Mugi. Absolute terror grips Ryongja's face. His eyes widen dramatically, sweat now dripping freely down his pale skin. Memories flash vividly before him. The Murim Alliance leader, dead, his lifeless body sprawled on the ground. The Unorthodox Alliance leader, slain, multiple swords buried deep into his corpse. The heavenly demon, pierced by 3 blades, slumped defeated upon his grand throne. The strongest martial artist across all history. We see an ominous figure towering atop an immense mound made from hundreds of thousands of bodies, each pierced gruesomely by swords. This figure, shrouded in darkness, radiates overwhelming menace, clearly the strongest warrior of this era, Hwa Mugi. Snapping back to reality, the old man nervously protests, sweat dripping heavily down his brow. Even if you regress to the past, you can't possibly defeat him. Even so, the silver-haired man responds with fiery determination, his eyes glinting with fierce resolve. I must kill him, no matter the cost. The old man's eyes widen in shock as the silver-haired man reveals coldly, the heavenly demon he killed was my father. A chilling silence fills the room before he continues bitterly. But I'm not seeking revenge simply because he killed my father or even my deceitful snake of a brother. Their deaths aren't unusual for people who've surrendered their lives to demonic paths. Then why, the old man interjects, perplexed and anxious. Because, the silver-haired man says, dark smoke seeping ominously from his body, on that day, Hwa Mugi massacred innocent servants, cooks, and even children who knew nothing of martial arts. Horrific visions emerge. Lifeless bodies of innocent servants and children sprawled tragically across blood-soaked floors, their pets lying motionless beside them. Hwa Mugi would never, the old man begins, disbelief etched on his face. It doesn't matter whether you believe me or not, the silver-haired man interrupts sharply. In this lifetime, I won't be able to kill him. That's why I must return to the past. And when I face him again, I will demand to know why someone as powerful as him felt the need to slaughter even the helpless. Silence falls heavily once more. Eventually, the old man softly breaks it. If the Great Regression Technique truly succeeds and you return to the past, can you do me a favor? What is it? The silver-haired man asks curiously. Come find me, the old man implores passionately, and stop me from getting married. Confusion briefly crosses the silver-haired man's face before laughter escapes him, but the old man remains serious, urging earnestly, I mean it. Tell me to remain alone forever. Finally, the silver-haired man smiles slightly, conceding, all right, I promise. They rise together, the silver-haired man swaying unsteadily. The old man rushes forward in concern. Are you all right? I'll manage, he replies weakly. Losing one arm and an eye was a small price for obtaining the secret demonic soul. They enter another room where the sacred treasures lie. The old man carefully picks up a small ornate box, opening it reverently to reveal a dark, sinister bead pulsing with immense foreboding power, the demonic soul. The old man carefully arranges the treasures together, clasps his hands solemnly, and begins chanting deeply. The artifacts resonate, each vibrating with escalating intensity. Golden inscriptions swirl throughout the room, intertwining with a powerful blue aura emanating from the old man. Suddenly, a dazzling burst of majestic light floods the chamber, followed by powerful winds that whip through the space violently. As the brilliance fades, reality itself seems to crack, giving birth to a red-purple golden portal swirling ominously in midair. I did it, the old man exclaims, eyes wide and filled with ecstatic disbelief. He spins to his friend in joyous triumph. Do you see this? I told you, I did it! But his jubilant expression quickly fades as he notices his companion, slumped heavily against a pillar, breathing labored and pained. The silver-haired man remains silent, eyes filled with exhaustion and sorrow. I'm sorry, the old man whispers, his voice trembling with guilt and sadness. Stepping toward the swirling abyss, he turns briefly, promising sincerely, I swear I'll find you and warn you about the coming disaster. The silver-haired man sits quietly, tattered robes hanging loosely, his strength depleted, as the old man bravely steps forward into the dark, mysterious portal that awaits him. Moving steadily towards the swirling portal, the old man's voice trembles with emotion. It's my family's greatest wish to return to the past. It's my wish, too. Suddenly, his expression shifts to pure fear as sweat trickles down his forehead. He freezes abruptly, eyes wide in shock. I can't move. My demonic acupoints have been sealed, he realizes in panic, slowly forcing his trembling head around. Behind him, 4 golden points glow intensely on his back. Great Regression, mutters the silver-haired man, now standing ominously behind him, his face twisted in anger. How could you do this? Hey, Regression manages weakly, his entire body shivering in fear. Without warning, the silver-haired man appears directly beside him, fury evident in his gaze. Of all people, he seethes, gripping Ryongja's throat and slamming him forcefully to the ground. Bam! Pain jolts through Ryongja's body as he crashes onto the hard floor. Looking up pleadingly, he gasps. I lost myself for a brief moment. I'm truly sorry. Tears well in his eyes as he chokes out the words. I know the pain you've endured gathering those materials. I shouldn't have betrayed you. Staring intensely, the silver-haired man's eyes soften slightly as he releases his grip. Ryongja, coughing and clutching his bruised throat, struggles to rise, tears streaming down his aged face. I'm selfish too, the silver-haired man finally admits softly. My whole life I thought only of myself. That's how I could gather everything I needed. He clenches his teeth briefly before continuing. Had it been anyone else, I'd have killed them instantly, but I understand your pain. With surprising gentleness, he places a reassuring hand on Ryongja's trembling shoulder. Gui Ryongja, thank you for waiting your entire life for me. Ryongja's eyes widen in shock, tears flowing freely down his cheeks. I'm really sorry, he whispers, his voice breaking with remorse. Suddenly, the world around them shifts. Everything freezes, drained of color. The silver-haired man looks around in astonishment. Butterflies hover motionlessly in midair, suspended eerily in black and white stillness. What? Everything stopped, he stammers, bewildered. A deep, resonant voice pierces the silence. You have paused all tests. Whirling around, the silver-haired man searches frantically for the voice's source. Above the swirling portal, an elderly figure materializes, adorned in radiant orange and white robes, glowing with a celestial aura. Who are you? The silver-haired man questions sharply. The one who can truly send you back to the past, the mysterious elder calmly replies. Stunned, the silver-haired man exclaims, sweat dripping down his temples. That's impossible. The elder smiles wisely. Mortals cannot fathom the logic of the heavens. Did you truly think mere materials and human rituals could allow time travel? He asks, his long beard shimmering with ethereal light. The true materials needed aren't physical objects, but the immense sacrifices and relentless effort you dedicated to obtaining them. As the elder gracefully waves his hand, the sacred artifacts hover midair, glowing brilliantly. You have passed the test. You lived with singular determination, sacrificing everything, including your forgiveness of Gui Ryongja, the hardest test of all, yet you succeeded effortlessly. If I've truly passed, the silver-haired man urges, robes billowing in a sudden gust of mystical wind, then fulfill my wish. Send me back. What will you do there? The elder probes, gaze sharp and penetrating. I will kill the one who deserves death and save those who deserve life, the silver-haired man states resolutely, teeth gritted. Is that all? The elder presses, eyes glinting with intensity. What else drives you to regress? I want to live meaningfully, shouts the silver-haired man passionately. Perhaps I've been desperate to return because I regret the way I lived, driven by anger at who I became. What exactly do you regret? The elder challenges fiercely, clutching his chest as his own voice grows harsh. Everything, the silver-haired man cries in agony. Since birth, none of my actions were my own. My life was always controlled by outside forces, relentlessly pushed by events beyond my grasp until, before I knew it, my life was over. The elder listens intently to the heartfelt words of the silver-haired man, his stern expression gradually softening into a gentle, knowing smile. I'm curious about the life you'll lead, the elder muses thoughtfully, his voice resonating softly through the air. The silver-haired man stammers, confusion flickering across his face as the elder's figure begins to shimmer and slowly fade into golden particles of light. I eagerly await the new path you shall take, the elder's voice echoes warmly before disappearing completely. As color floods back into the world, time resumes. The heartfelt apology of Gui Ryungja rings clearly once more. I'm really sorry. The silver-haired man slowly turns toward his lifelong friend, silent yet deeply understanding. I know it's shameless to remind you, Ryungja says earnestly, but please remember your promise. Stop me from getting married. With quiet resolution, the silver-haired man nods slightly, turning towards the shimmering, swirling portal. His robes and silver hair flutter gently in the mystical wind as he calmly says, "Stay well." "Hey, remember what I told you!" Ryongja urgently calls after him, his voice filled with both hope and fear, just as the silver-haired man steps confidently into the portal's dazzling white and golden brilliance. Suddenly, a new scene unfolds. A young man with striking black hair snaps open his eyes, breathing heavily as he stands atop an expansive arena platform. Around him, a roaring crowd erupts into cheers, hundreds of excited spectators waving swords and shouting passionately. Clad in pristine blue robes, the young man grips his sword tightly, gazing upward at an imposing stone statue resembling a deity, its arms solemnly crossed. Emotion fills his voice as he murmurs incredulously, I really came back to the past." This young warrior, the regressed form of the once silver-haired man, now youthful and strong with both arms intact, is momentarily overwhelmed by realization. But his reverie is quickly shattered as an intense, ominous energy suddenly floods his senses, causing him to stagger backward, sweat streaming down his brow. Across the grand arena, atop a sinister throne, sits an imposing figure cloaked in luxurious red, white, and black robes. Flanking him stand 8 formidable warriors, 4 on each side. The intense gaze of this intimidating ruler pierces directly through the young man's heart. Father, he thinks, locking eyes silently with the powerful man above him, an emotional storm brewing within. A thunderous voice suddenly booms from the sidelines, breaking his focus. How long will you keep us waiting, second young master? Whirling around, the young man sees a fierce warrior with blazing orange hair, a barbaric presence gripping a massive sword. The blade crashes down onto the arena floor, fracturing the stone beneath it and scattering debris. Let's start this fight, the warrior roars aggressively, the crowd erupting again into wild cheers. I see, the young master whispers calmly, clarity returning to his gaze. Today is the day of the new demon skirmish. His black hair dances freely in the breeze, illuminated by the sun's radiant glow, determination blazing fiercely in his eyes. Our episode opens with a reflective monologue from our protagonist as we glimpse the majestic figure of his father, the heavenly demon. Clad in striking white and red robes adorned with majestic dragons and crimson clouds, his father's presence is commanding. My father, the heavenly demon, declared he wouldn't limit the selection of the next cult leader solely to his bloodline, the protagonist narrates solemnly. This caused an uproar within the cult, as it meant anyone could claim the title of heavenly demon, provided they were the strongest. We see intense scenes of fierce combat unfold, with men and women skillfully engaging in martial arts battles. Father was serious about his announcement, the protagonist continues, and he launched a fierce contest among the next generation's leaders, calling it the New Demon Skirmish. The winner would earn the right to challenge one of his 2 sons. Whoever triumphed in that battle would have one wish personally granted by the heavenly demon. Returning to the present, we see an aggressive warrior with vibrant orange hair gripping a massive sword, his teeth clenched in defiance. Why don't you give up while you still can, he taunts the protagonist, who remains silently resolute. Our protagonist reflects bitterly on his past life. I remember clearly, I felt insulted that he chose me, assuming he saw me as weaker than my older brother. But now perhaps there was another reason. His eyes narrow in anger, recalling how the barbarian-like man had bribed a kitchen servant to poison his rice, robbing him of his inner energy. We vividly witnessed this betrayal, the cook secretly mixing a clear liquid into the rice. I lost the match because of his dirty trick, he recalls with regret, envisioning himself collapsed on the ground, wounded and bleeding, his sword just beyond reach. When I informed my father, he said nothing, just gave me a disapproving look as if blaming me for falling victim to such a cheap scheme. We see brief glimpses of the protagonist desperately pushing himself beyond limits, attempting to redeem his honor and position. Despite his relentless effort, the defeat haunted him, causing him to lose ground in the succession war. Everything started from that moment, he whispers gravely. A sudden shout snaps him back to reality. Second young master, are you distracted even when I'm right in front of you? The orange-haired man glares furiously. What did you say your name was again? The protagonist asks nonchalantly. Are you mocking me, Gu Pyung-ho? The barbarian-like warrior roars. Ah, that's right, Gu Pyung-ho, our protagonist calmly acknowledges, pointing at him casually. Internally, our protagonist remembers vividly. He's the fifth disciple of Gu Cheonpa, the Blood Heaven Sword Demon, one of the terrifying 8 demon supremes. A towering silhouette, draped in crimson robes with a billowing scarf, momentarily dominates his thoughts. Daring to disrespect me like this, Gu Pyung-ho growls fiercely, must mean you're confident in your abilities. Our protagonist briefly glances up, locking eyes with his father seated imposingly above, surrounded by the other supreme leaders. Back then I didn't realize, he thinks sharply, but father already knew I had been poisoned. He was watching closely, observing how I'd handle such adversity. Confidence surges within him as he considers, with the knowledge from my past life, I can easily defeat Gu Pyung-ho without using inner energy. However, I must conceal my true strength for now. In a dramatic gesture, he boldly thrusts his fist skyward, declaring loudly, Hear me clearly, heroes of our cult. I will battle Gu Pyung-ho without using any inner energy. Gasps ripple through the crowd, astonishment evident on every face. What? Echoes through the arena. Ignoring their shock, our protagonist boldly chants, Unrivaled swordsman! Unrivaled swordsman! The chant quickly catches fire, and the crowd erupts into passionate cheers, swords raised triumphantly in solidarity. Gu Pyung-ho, visibly shaken and sweating, snarls in response. Fine, if that's how you want it, then I won't use my inner energy either. A sudden hush blankets the crowd. Confused whispers soon break the silence. Neither will use inner energy? How boring, someone scoffs sarcastically. What a waste of time, another mutters dismissively. Hearing these murmurs, Gu Pyung-ho grits his teeth in anger. Damn it, he curses bitterly, gripping his enormous sword tightly. With an explosive force, he yanks the massive blade from the ground, causing stones and debris to scatter dramatically. Second young master, even without inner energy, remember, my sword has no eyes. It will cut down anything it touches. Our protagonist stands quietly, gazing thoughtfully at his younger hand and arm. Internally, he wonders, I feel so foreign in this younger body. Can I truly move it as freely as I wish? His contemplation is abruptly shattered by Gu Pyung-ho's booming voice from across the arena. Unsheath your sword, Gu demands aggressively, gripping his massive weapon tightly with both hands. Our protagonist calmly raises his sword slightly, remarking dismissively, I don't think I need a sword against you. The crowd erupts into mocking laughter, jeering loudly at Gu's humiliation. One spectator yells sarcastically, Hey, he's totally looking down on you. Fury blazing in his eyes, Gu Pyung-ho snarls, You! I won't kill you since you're the cult leader's son, but I'll take your arm. He lunges fiercely, sword raised high, eyes glowing red with violent intent. Unfazed, our protagonist calmly sidesteps the fierce downward strike, narrowly dodging with effortless precision. Good, he thinks with relief. My body's reaction time is quicker than I anticipated. Enraged, Gu pivots quickly, launching another vicious slash, only to strike empty air, hitting a mere afterimage. Our protagonist gracefully leaps upward, somersaulting through the air and landing majestically a short distance away. With a gentle smile, our protagonist places a hand over his rapidly beating heart. My heart is beating so strongly at this age, he murmurs thoughtfully, Damn you! You dare laugh at me? Roars Gu Pyung-ho furiously, lunging forward again with reckless aggression. Our protagonist's eyes narrow through strands of his dark hair. In a sudden burst of speed, he launches himself forward, driving his elbow forcefully into Gu's chest midair. Bam! Gu gasps violently, struggling desperately for air as a second devastating punch smashes into his face. Blood and teeth scatter through the air as Gu's head snaps back, tears streaming from his eyes in agonizing pain. Before Gu can even fall, our protagonist grabs him, cocking his fist back once more. A relentless storm of punches rains mercilessly upon Gu's airborne body, rapid, powerful strikes emanating golden energy as they hit. Blood gushes violently from Gu's mouth as he crashes to the ground on his knees, coughing and sputtering in agony. Ruthlessly, our protagonist grips Gu's arm, the one still clutching the massive sword. Was it this hand? Our protagonist questions coldly, leaping high into the air while firmly grasping Gu's arm. The hand you used to poison me? Tears of fearful realization flood Gu's eyes. Wait! He screams desperately, sweat pouring down his terrified face. With brutal finality, a sickening crack echoes as our protagonist viciously breaks Gu's arm. Bone pierces grotesquely through skin, blood spurting violently as Gu roars in unbearable agony, collapsing face first onto the ground. Absolute shock grips the spectators, gasps and murmurs rippling throughout the horrified crowd. Standing silently above his defeated opponent, sword still firmly in hand, our protagonist's gaze hardens with steely resolve. Now that I have returned to the past, he vows internally, I will no longer let others dictate how I live my life. A commanding hand rises slowly into the air, instantly silencing the murmuring crowd. As I promised, echoes a powerful voice from above, the heavenly demon himself, still seated upon his imposing throne. I shall grant you one wish. Tell me what you desire. Our protagonist pauses thoughtfully, aware of everyone's expectations. Usually, victors would request legendary weapons or secret martial arts scrolls. He senses the anticipation in the air, but today he resolves firmly, I'll follow my instincts. With determined clarity, he states aloud, I wish. The entire arena holds its breath. I wish to go on a hunt with you, Father. Shock ripples visibly through the spectators. Even Gu Pyung-ho, bloodied and defeated, lifts his head in disbelief. Silence hangs thickly until the heavenly demon breaks it, his voice low and inquisitive. You wish to hunt with me? Yes, our protagonist replies confidently, gazing steadily up at his father. I've heard you enjoyed hunting when you were young. I'd like to learn how to hunt from you. Suspicion momentarily flickers across the heavenly demon's stern face before he slowly rises, gripping his throne firmly. His towering figure, adorned in robes embroidered with fierce dragons, exudes immense authority. We depart tomorrow at dawn, he declares solemnly. Turning away in an aura of majesty, he exits, prompting respectful bows from the 8 powerful figures flanking his throne. Our protagonist watches silently, his gaze following his father's departing form. A bitter voice interrupts from behind. What an idiot. I can't believe you wasted your wish on something so pathetic. It's Gu Pyung-ho, now being assisted by 2 other disciples. Casually mocking, our protagonist turns around, feigning ignorance. Oh? What did you say your name was again? Fury blazing in his eyes, Gu Pyung-ho roars, I'll kill you. Execute him now. He struggles violently, but is quickly dragged away by his companions, his shouts fading into the distance. Now that I've returned, our protagonist reflects quietly, the reckless lives you all lead no longer interest me. Sunlight gently illuminates his calm, resolute face. Later that evening, a sprawling mansion sits gracefully beneath a golden sunset. Inside, our protagonist stands contemplatively before a mirror, examining his youthful reflection. I really am young again, nothing like the old me, he muses thoughtfully. An older, more hardened face momentarily stares back at him. His mind drifts to his nemesis. Hwa Mugi. What could he be doing right now? If I can find him and eliminate him before he becomes powerful, this entire catastrophe could be prevented easily. Yet, he acknowledges the challenge. The problem is, he's notoriously elusive. He appeared suddenly in Jeong, as if falling from the sky. After annihilating the Murim Alliance, the Unorthodox Alliance, and even the Demon Cult, he vanished completely. Finding him won't be easy. A vision of Hwa Mugi walking away into obscurity, his crimson red eyes piercing through the shadows, flutters vividly through our protagonist's mind. Announcing his name openly to locate him would only provoke immense danger, he realizes grimly, folding his arms with deep contemplation. In the end, my primary goal remains unchanged, becoming stronger than Hwa Mugi. His thoughts are interrupted by a gentle yet familiar voice from behind. Young Master. Recognizing it instantly, he turns slowly to face the speaker, a large, robust woman clad impressively in armor. Her presence evokes immediate warmth and nostalgia. Leon, he says softly, warmth filling his eyes. That's correct, young master, she replies earnestly, standing protectively before him. The words, Bodyguard Leon, appear prominently, introducing her clearly. As memories flood back, he lowers his gaze thoughtfully. That's right. Leon was always by my side, he reflects, humbled. At the time, I didn't realize her massive physique was a direct result of the martial arts techniques she mastered. More importantly, I failed to realize that it was all for my sake. Body purification technique, our protagonist narrates thoughtfully. A powerful martial art that temporarily hardens the body to become as tough as rock. It's an exclusive and secretive technique, known only to a select few. We see a vivid memory of a muscular warrior, his body rugged and solid, surrounded by jagged stones that reflect his toughness. Continuing his solemn narration, our protagonist adds, the technique's greatest flaw is that it significantly enlarges the user's body. Painful memories flood his mind, a vision of Leon bravely leaping in front of him, sacrificing herself to block a fatal sword strike from Hwa Mugi. Grief shadows his face as he recalls, she gave her life to protect me. The kind, gentle face of Leon draws closer in the present, noticing the protagonist's pensive gaze. Why are you looking at me like that, young master? She asked softly, confusion and concern in her voice. I never realized before. Her voice was always this pleasant, he thinks privately, his heart swelling with newfound appreciation. She was always ready to sacrifice herself for me, yet back then I considered her merely a simple bodyguard. I took her presence for granted, like the air we breathe. Emotion welling within him, he slowly approaches Leon, causing her to blush slightly and look uncertain. She's even bigger than I remember, he notes warmly to himself, a gentle smile forming on his lips as he gazes at her. Leon, startled yet intrigued by his gentle demeanor, remains silently curious, her eyes filled with unspoken questions. Our chapter opens with our protagonist's reflective monologue. Leon. Everyone once said she'd become the greatest beauty in the world if she continued growing up that way. A gentle memory unfolds. Leon as a beautiful young girl, wearing an elegant white and yellow robe surrounded by blooming roses. But then, he continues somberly, she suddenly grew large. We see an older Leon, now adorable yet distinctly heavier. Leon's gentle voice resonates, filled with sincerity. I'll protect you, young master. Our protagonist feels a pang of regret as memories surface. Back then, I never realized how much she cried because of her changed appearance or how swollen her eyes became from tears. Guilt shadows his features as he quietly acknowledges, she sacrificed her beauty willingly. But how did I repay her? Maybe I grew colder to her over time. We see him dismissing Leon's offered dumplings with cold indifference. Now filled with remorse, he silently promises her, Leon, I swear I'll remove the side effects of the body purification technique for you. Young master, are you all right? Leon's concerned voice breaks his reverie. I'm all right, he replies, shaking off his regretful thoughts. No, actually, I'm good. You're acting rather strange today, she observes cautiously. A faint smirk lifts his lips as he acknowledges her perceptiveness. Just like Leon, he thinks warmly, always noticing every subtle change in me. Turning confidently, he says aloud, gripping his sword firmly, Follow me. I'll show you something even stranger. Where are we going? Leon asks, puzzled. With determination in his voice, he replies cryptically, To flip the dining table. Under the tranquil night sky, the manor stands majestically illuminated. Inside, our protagonist faces several servants with sharp, piercing eyes. "Why did you do it?" he demands sternly. "Pardon? What do you mean, young master?" An old man stammers nervously. "Why did you poison my meal with energy-dispersing poison?" he clarifies coldly, his gaze landing intensely on one trembling young man. The room plunges into stunned silence. Leon gasps quietly beside him, eyes wide in shock. I didn't do it," the accused servant protests frantically, his voice shaking with fear. "Did you gamble away the 3,000 liang you received?" Our protagonist sharply questions, instantly reducing the servant to terrified silence. This boy, our protagonist thinks bitterly, had fallen into debt through gambling. Blinded by desperation, he dared poison my food. "I've made a terrible mistake, young master," the servant pleads, collapsing to the ground. "Please, spare me. I was blinded by greed." "Did Jiyu personally give you the money?" our protagonist interrogates, teeth clenched in fury. "Yes," the servant whispers weakly. Without hesitation, swoosh! Our protagonist's sword slices cleanly, sending the servant's head flying. Blood sprays dramatically, shocking everyone present. The servant's lifeless body slumps to the floor. "Shameful, a cook poisoning meals," he condemns icily, eyes fixed coldly on the corpse. "My deepest apologies, young master. I bear full responsibility," Cook Lim desperately interjects, dropping to his knees. "Why you?" our protagonist questions sharply, turning to Cook Lim. "Isn't the fault entirely his?" "No," Cook Lim insists humbly. "Everything in the kitchen is my responsibility." "Then," our protagonist counters sharply, "does that mean every injustice in the cult is my father's responsibility?" "Pardon?" "No, never," Cook Lim shouts fearfully. "Then stop speaking nonsense," our protagonist declares firmly. "Cook me shredded chicken noodles for dinner." He sheathes his sword decisively, turning to leave. "It's been a while. That's what I want for dinner," he orders calmly, leaving everyone stunned and silent. "Didn't you have that just a few days ago?" Leon asks, quickly following him. He throws her a gentle look, eyes softening nostalgically. Internally, he reflects quietly. That was decades ago for me. The next day at dawn, the Heavenly Demon Pavilion stands serene beneath the pale sky. The Heavenly Demon himself awaits, poised calmly on the bridge outside his pavilion. His powerful gaze shifts as our protagonist arrives, heavily laden with bows, arrows, and various bags. "What's with all those distracting belongings?" the Heavenly Demon questions sternly. "Essentials for the next few days," our protagonist replies earnestly. "Days?" his father repeats, raising an eyebrow skeptically. "I planned only for today's hunt." "Who knows?" our protagonist counters gently. "You might enjoy hunting enough to stay longer." "An ambitious dream," the Heavenly Demon remarks dryly, brushing past his son carrying the enormous pack. The scene transitions to a lush forest, filled with towering trees and a gentle mist that blankets the distant mountaintops. Father and son walk silently together, the Heavenly Demon leading confidently. "You're better than I thought," his father comments suddenly, catching our protagonist off guard. Did he notice that I was hiding skills from my past life during the fight with Goop Young-ho? Our protagonist wonders anxiously, deciding quickly, it's best to be honest. "Father, I was concealing my abilities," he admits openly. "I notice," the Heavenly Demon calmly replies without turning. "I'm not a cat that hisses, I'm a beast that hides its claws," our protagonist states confidently. The Heavenly Demon pauses, turning back with a thoughtful gaze. "Why would a beast hide its claws?" "Ah," our protagonist realizes sheepishly. "I hadn't thought about it that way." "That's why you're a cat," his father remarks pointedly. Continuing through the lush underbrush, the Heavenly Demon queries, "How much of the soaring sword arts have you mastered?" Recalling the secret technique, our protagonist visualizes himself gracefully performing the soaring sword arts, vibrant blue energy trailing elegantly through the air. It's a secret martial art passed down only to the Heavenly Demon's bloodline, he reflects internally. Then, confidently, he states aloud, "I have completely mastered it." Suddenly, with breathtaking speed, A beam of energy streaks past him, narrowly grazing his cheek and slicing through his backpack. Our protagonist freezes, eyes wide with shock and sweat dripping from his brow. If I hadn't instinctively turned my head, my cheek would be gone. You've truly mastered it, the heavenly demon challenges, standing calmly on a fallen log ahead. You tested me even though you weren't certain, our protagonist retorts indignantly, touching his slightly grazed cheek. What if I hadn't dodged? Then you would have paid the price for lying, his father replies coolly. If you truly mastered it, dodging would have been effortless. Even so, our protagonist complains softly, my face resembles yours. It wouldn't look good with scars. The heavenly demon studies him silently. Internally, he reflects with hidden pride, completely mastering the technique at his age. Impressive indeed. Without further comment, he clasps his hands behind his back and continues walking. Our protagonist, warmed by this silent approval, follows gratefully, quietly thinking, thank you, Father. The duo journeys deeper into the vibrant forest. Pausing briefly, the heavenly demon kneels to inspect tracks on the ground. Who taught you how to hunt, Father? Our protagonist inquires softly. My older brother, comes the quiet reply. Surprised, our protagonist blurts out, I had an uncle? He died, his father states plainly, adding grimly, I killed him when I was your age. Shock briefly clouds our protagonist's face, but after a tense silence, he firmly replies, You did well. The heavenly demon's eyes narrow sharply, darkening with emotion. Otherwise, our protagonist continues sincerely, I wouldn't have been born. Both men stand quietly, locked in a profound gaze. Our protagonist silently acknowledges, even Father must carry deep wounds from battling his own kin. In my past life, I saw clearly, the stronger someone seems, the deeper their pain. Turning away, the heavenly demon quietly admits, back then I saw no other solution. I understand, our protagonist softly reassures. Internally, he thinks decisively, I won't pretend to surpass him. I cannot do what even he could not. He looks toward his father, speaking candidly. And you already know there's no need for me to even consider that, especially since my brother is cruel and vicious. A dark silhouette with a menacing grin briefly appears in his thoughts. Silence hangs thickly before the heavenly demon quietly comments, Speaking ill of him behind his back, are you? A majestic scene unfolds as towering mountains adorned with lush trees stretch towards the heavens. High above, our protagonist and his father gracefully ascend, leaping effortlessly between rocky outcrops toward the summit. Observing his father's powerful figure ahead, our protagonist reflects deeply. In my past life, I never married and never had children. That's why I wonder, what kind of existence was I to my father? Catching up at the mountain's peak, the two men stand side by side in quiet contemplation, gazing into the vast, dense forest spread beneath them. Breaking the silence, our protagonist asks curiously, Is there something there? Our dinner, replies the heavenly demon calmly. Then we need to kill it, our protagonist responds eagerly. How do you plan on killing something you can't even see? His father challenges gently, placing his belongings down and carefully drawing his bow. First, close your eyes and sense your surroundings, instructs the heavenly demon. Obediently, our protagonist shuts his eyes, focusing intensely as faint blue energy begins radiating softly from his body. Internally, he reflects, martial masters detect opponents through vibrations in the surrounding air, the energy flow of beings. Right now, I only sense one powerful flow, Father's. A fierce crimson energy pulses vividly around his father's figure, reminiscent of a demonic force. Now send your energy out in a single, controlled line, his father instructs. Obeying, our protagonist visualizes himself as a tightly wound ball of yarn, slowly releasing a slender thread of energy. Gradually, his energy line reaches out, touching and sensing something ahead. I feel it, he announces excitedly. What do you sense? His father queries calmly. A tree, he replies uncertainly. Keep searching, urges the heavenly demon patiently. Sweat beads on our protagonist's brow as he carefully expands his sensing energy. Suddenly his senses sharpen, clearly revealing a robust, hairy form. Eyes snapping open wide in surprise, he exclaims, "A wild boar, or perhaps a bear?" "It's a wild boar," his father confirms with a nod. Grinning in triumph, our protagonist clenches his fist proudly, then notices his father's knowing gaze. The heavenly demon remarks gently, "Initially, even I couldn't sense accurately at such a distance." "Well," our protagonist boasts playfully, "I'm gifted with a body that masters martial arts quickly. This level is nothing for me." His father responds with a faint, approving smile. That evening, flames crackle warmly under a starlit sky as father and son sit beside their roaring campfire. A succulent boar cooks enticingly nearby. The heavenly demon observes quietly, "When did you learn to prepare hunted game so skillfully?" "I learned from a book," our protagonist replies modestly. "You seem exceptionally skilled for a first attempt," his father remarks thoughtfully. "Glad it appears that way," he responds humbly, secretly thinking, "In my past life, I hunted countless animals to survive." Noticing his father comfortably seated on a luxurious tiger-skin rug, he comments warmly, "Carrying all that heavy baggage was worth it to earn your favor." The heavenly demon's gaze sharpens curiously. "Did you choose to hunt with me to impress me or to become my successor?" Rising confidently, our protagonist dusts off his robes. "Neither. I know impressing you won't sway your decision. I'll become successor on my own merit," he declares boldly. "Quite confident, aren't you?" his father remarks, intrigued. "I have two reasons," he continues seriously. "First, I wanted to learn from you and grow stronger. I've already achieved this first goal today." His father regards him quietly, the flickering fire casting deep shadows on his stern face. "And after you become stronger?" "Don't misunderstand," our protagonist clarifies sincerely. "I don't desire your throne. You're strong and healthy. I won't waste my youth chasing your title. It's enough to become your successor and learn the heavenly demon's martial arts." As silence settles comfortably between them, our protagonist gazes thoughtfully at the starry sky, quietly reflecting, "I must master the 9 calamity demonic arts swiftly and surpass them." Even father, who mastered those arts, ultimately fell to Hua Mugi. The heavenly demon's deep voice interrupts gently, "Your second reason?" Smiling warmly, our protagonist admits softly, "I wanted to spend time alone with you. We've never done this before." The heavenly demon pauses, a small, rare smile forming on his lips as he gently advises, "Such sentiments are useless. They'll only get you killed." "Why is it useless?" our protagonist asks softly, breaking the silence. He gazes into the fire and adds, "I get to spend time with the strongest person in the world. If you sing a song, that becomes the world's greatest song. If you drink liquor, it becomes the world's greatest liquor." The heavenly demon simply stares at his son, then turns his gaze toward the dancing flames. The silence between them stretches, heavy but meaningful. "In my past life," our protagonist reflects internally, "I couldn't recall a single warm memory of father. Memories of fear don't count as memories." A vision of the heavenly demon, towering with crimson red eyes glowing ominously, flashes through his mind. "This time, I want something different." His gaze lingers on his father. "But don't misunderstand, father. I'm not doing this for you. It's for me." Dawn paints the horizon in golden hues. "It's dawn," the heavenly demon announces. "Let's go back now." "We're not going anywhere," he continues firmly. "You came out to hunt with the heavenly demon, so before we leave, we need to kill at least a tiger." Tossing his head back, he shouts, "What are you doing?" "Don't stand there like a dunce. Follow me." "Yes, father," our protagonist responds, hurrying after him with his heavy gear in tow. The scenery shifts to a stunning bamboo forest, the tall stalks swaying gently. "Close your eyes again," the heavenly demon instructs. "Okay," the son replies, obeying immediately. "The target is to the right, 100 yards away. It's farther than last time. Feel the wind this time. Infuse your energy into it." As our protagonist closes his eyes, blue energy begins to swirl gently around him. Internally, he muses, In all my training, I've never been taught to infuse energy into the wind. There was no one to teach me, and no martial art I've ever heard of teaches this. Discharge your energy, his father says firmly. The blue energy flows outward, soft but growing stronger. If you're too slow and delicate, his father adds, you'll only create a pretty trick. If you want to use it in battle, your energy must reach your target quickly. As the wind and energy begin to intertwine, our protagonist's focus sharpens. I can feel it, the wind and my energy, he thinks, but how do I combine them? Suddenly, understanding dawns. To infuse it into the wind doesn't mean to ride it, it means to entangle it. The swirling energy threads through the bamboo forest, weaving sharply between stalks until it finds its mark, a glowing figure. The energy encircles the shape. It's a tiger. Eyes snapping open, our protagonist stammers, there really is a tiger. What's wrong? His father asks calmly. Don't get lazy with your training. The more energy lines you can manage, the better your odds of survival. Understood, father. I'll bear that in mind, our protagonist replies, catching his breath. Later, by another blazing fire, the heavenly demon lifts a wine bottle. This is my strongest trump card, he says. They sit across from one another. Taking a sip, the heavenly demon remarks, this is good. Still a bit strong for me, the son replies, taking a sip himself. That's a lie, he admits internally. His father smirks knowingly. No demonic human complains about liquor being too strong, the heavenly demon retorts. A vicious heart is more important than strong liquor. He leans forward slightly. Could you kill me? If it meant you could live. The fire crackles between them. No, our protagonist says aloud. How could a child kill their parent? But inside, the truth stirs. That's a lie too. If I had a good enough reason, I would do it. Even if it's my own father. He lowers his head. This is the best conversation I've ever had with him. How could I possibly value my own life more than his? Could you kill me? The heavenly demon repeats. If you're hesitant, he warns, then don't talk about having a vicious heart. Taking another sip of wine, the heavenly demon falls silent. Then, our protagonist replies softly, staring at the fire, I'll learn to drink strong liquor too. Flames dance between them as father and son sit quietly, the embers glowing in the night. A starry night sky blankets the land as a quiet house rests beneath its gaze. Inside, our protagonist sits cross-legged on the floor, deep in meditation. Energy hums softly in the air as he exhales slowly and opens his eyes. After focusing on training these past few days since my regression, he thinks, I can now freely infuse my energy into the wind. I can maintain 3 to 4 lines at once. Blue streaks of energy coil around him, dancing with the air itself. I never expected Father to teach me how to discharge energy to survey my surroundings. It's like gaining an extra life. I'll be able to detect any enemy before they even strike. He rises from the floor, clenching his fist. If I continue like this, if I can release more than 10 energy lines, I might be able to nullify any stealth technique an enemy uses. Suddenly, his expression turns dark. But even Father, who's far more skilled than I am, lost to Hua Mugi because the heavenly demon pavilion was infiltrated. A flashback begins. The majestic heavenly demon pavilion glows in the mountains, surrounded by towering trees. Its defenses are formidable. 3 barrier formations, 6 trap formations, and a force of hand-picked elites. 8 mighty demon supremes, each guarding a direction. North, the demonic swordsman of the Northern Heaven Sword family, led by the 1/Sword Supreme. South, the demonic Bladesman of the Southern Heavens Blade family, led by the Blood Heavens Bladesman. East, the Iron Fists of the East Fist faction, led by the undefeated First Demon. West, the demonic sorcerers of the Western Illusion formation, led by the Soul-Stealing Demon. Northeast, the Faceless Swordsman, aspiring to become the Evil Smiling Demon. Southeast, the perpetually drunken swordsman, led by the demonic drunkard. Southwest, the Poison Fans, masters of toxins, alongside the Poison King. Northwest, the the crazy monks, devoted to the delusions of the demonic Buddha. We see eerie silhouettes of each supreme, powerful and menacing. Back then, our protagonist reflects, I believed the enemy broke in from the outside, but I was wrong. The outer defenses were never breached. His eyes narrow. Someone from within, one of the 8 demon supremes, allowed Hua Mugi to enter the pavilion. Perhaps more than one traitor. The betrayer was never found, but it doesn't matter, because now I treat all 8 demon supremes as traitors. We see a haunting image of the heavenly demon on his throne, 3 swords piercing his body, blood staining the steps as the supremes walk away. After Father died, none of them sought vengeance. Instead, they decided to shut down the demonic cult. That's still a future event, but I know their pasts. I know how they lived and how they died. His jaw tightens. This time, I'll use the 8 demon supremes to their fullest. He turns toward the door, but suddenly, Hey, fatty, is the second young master still in the training ground? A voice shouts from outside. Eyes widening, our protagonist flinches at the voice. Outside, 3 men stand. The one in front, white robe, massive sword strapped to his back, has a smug look plastered across his scarred face. How many days has it been already? I can't wait anymore. Go drag him out, he orders. Leon stands guard, fists clenched, shielding the entrance. What did you just say? She snaps back. Just then, our protagonist emerges. Leon, what are you doing out here? She turns quickly, relieved. Young master? The 3 men grow quiet at the sight of him. He looks at Leon. I told you to do your own thing while I was training. Did you wait here for me the whole time? Flustered, she twirls her fingers. ... The man in white steps forward smugly. You're finally out, second young master. Why the sudden training binge, and for days no less? A disciple of the Blood Heaven's Bladesman, our protagonist recalls, Yang Po. He narrows his eyes. He only acts this way because of my father. A memory floods back. After father declared that anyone in the cult could become the successor, simply being the heavenly demon's son lost its meaning. That decree only ignited everyone's ambition, the ambition to defeat his sons and gain fame. Yang Po grins smugly, scars stretched across his face. The tension in the air crackles like lightning. What do you want? Our protagonist asks coolly, turning to face the bald, white-clad man. Don't play dumb, the man snaps. Pyung-ho can't practice martial arts anymore, because of you. The 3 men stare at him and Leon with intense glares, but our protagonist simply shrugs, voice sharp. So what? You want me to go look after him or something? Under the silver moonlight of the courtyard, tension crackles like a drawn blade. You think I'm joking with you? Barks the bald man. I don't think our relationship's ever been one for serious conversations, our protagonist replies dryly. Take responsibility. Go apologize to him officially, the bald man demands. Our protagonist narrows his eyes, calmly analyzing. I see what's happening. The Blood Heaven's Bladesman isn't around. His disciples want to show off, make themselves look useful by forcing me to apologize. Yang Po wants credit. He wants to avoid making his master look bad. He smirks. But doing this won't make you the best disciple. I don't think your master will pick you just because of this pathetic act, he says out loud. That's nonsense. I'm only here for Pyung-ho's sake, the bald man protests. Enough, our protagonist cuts him off, his voice turning icy. You're the one who should apologize. For what? The bald bladesman snarls. For speaking rudely to my subordinate. Apologize to her. Leon's face immediately flushes. Her eyes widen in shock. What? It's fine, young master, she mutters, trying to diffuse the tension. I'm not fine with it, our protagonist replies firmly, stepping forward. Leon blushes again, speechless. Yang Po, you insulted my subordinate. Kneel down and apologize. Yang Po blinks, stunned. Did you just tell me to kneel to that fatty? Our protagonist's jaw tightens. His voice sharpens. There you go, running your mouth again. Yang Po erupts. You crazy bastard. I'd rather die than kneel to her. His 2 companions exchange nervous glances. Our protagonist's smile returns. Calm, cold, final. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. He draws his sword with a smooth motion, its blade glowing brilliant blue, radiant energy cascading off it like a waterfall of fireflies. Leon gasps in astonishment. You've really lost your mind, Yang Po shouts, his voice trembling with fury. Kneel and apologize, or fight me. Your choice, our protagonist says, sword aimed directly at the trio. Sweat forms at Yang Po's brow. Just so you know, our protagonist adds, if you back down now, your master will not be pleased. Silence. Only the wind stirs in the courtyard nestled beneath the stars. I don't care if you're here for me. I'd even understand revenge, but I won't let you insult my subordinates. Leon's face reddens as she lowers her gaze, touched. Yang Po suddenly bursts into laughter. Ha, 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 ha. You're trying to kill me over a damn pig? That's how much she means to me, our protagonist responds with a soft grin. Yang Po's smile vanishes. Rage overtakes him. He rips his broadsword from its mount. Don't do it, Young Po, one of his companions pleads. Young master, Leon shouts, but our protagonist raises his hand, signaling her to step back. From above, the moon casts silver light on two warriors facing off, swords drawn. Since you're the son of the heavenly demon, Yang Po growls, I'll take your arm instead of your life. Wind swirls, time slows. An orange slash bursts from Yang Po's sword. Swoosh! Our protagonist ducks low, dodging the attack. Then, bam! His sword lunges upward like a bolt of blue lightning, piercing straight through Yang Po's head. Blood explodes in all directions. His sword emerges cleanly out the other side. His eyes narrow, voice calm. Your mouth brought your death. He gazes coldly at the twitching body. You used that mouth to insult my subordinate and refused to apologize. Leon stands frozen, clutching her chest in disbelief. Our protagonist rips his blade free. Swipe! A geyser of blood arcs through the air. Yang Po's body, still upright, trembles. His eyes roll back, turning lifeless and black. Then, like a puppet cut from strings, he crumples. Thud! The two remaining men stare in horror. Blood pools at their feet. Our protagonist stands calm and unmoved, his glowing sword glinting in the moonlight as Yang Po lies face first in the dirt, dead. We begin where we left off, our protagonist pulling his sword from Yang Po's mouth, blood bursting into the air. Yang Po's body slumps to the ground with a heavy bam. Our protagonist gazes coldly at the corpse, hatred simmering in his eyes. His two comrades scream, rushing over. Yang Po! One of them spins on our protagonist. Do you think you can handle the consequences of your actions? His voice steady, eyes sharp, our protagonist replies, Your mouth sounds just like his. He steps forward, gaze intense. Repeat my words exactly. Pause on my phrasing. If you dare change even one syllable, I'll find you at dusk. The two men freeze, stunned into silence. The lights from the manor spill into the courtyard, casting a solemn glow on our protagonist as the two men haul Yang Po's body away. Why did you do that? A soft voice comes from behind. He turns. What? Leon stands there, uncertain. Why did you do that for someone like me? His heart stirs. She's still worried about me. Even after everything, he steps closer. This wasn't because of you. I killed a man who deserved it. Leon frowns. The Blood Heaven's Bladesman won't let this slide. Of course she's afraid, he thinks. The 8 martial masters of the demonic cult wield massive influence. Even Father, the heavenly demon, must weigh their power carefully. He recalls the Blood Heaven's Bladesman, a fearsome figure, cloaked in red, gripping a colossal sword pulsing with crimson energy. I crippled one disciple. I killed another. He answers her plainly. He won't do anything. He has nothing to gain. But his pride? Then he'd be mocked for raising such useless disciples. He doesn't have that kind of pride. He places a gentle hand on her shoulder. You don't need to worry about me. She blushes deeply as he steps past her. On the contrary, he thinks. I gained something from killing Yang Po. His eyes narrow. I defeated Gu Pyung-ho. Now I've killed Yang Po. Every member of the cult has their eyes on me now. If this were a points-based succession war, I've just claimed my first point. The night is quiet. Stars shimmer above the manor. "Young master," Leon calls out from behind. He pauses. "Thank you for what you did today. I mean it. From the bottom of my heart," she says, beaming with a radiant, innocent smile. He turns, lips curling into a rare smile. "You'd better be thankful. Don't forget this. For the rest of your life." "Okay," she shouts, still grinning. He walks away thinking, "Yes, Leon, keep smiling. I want you to live your life that way." Later that evening, beneath the pale moonlight, our protagonist sits alone on a stone bench in front of his manor, wearing simple night clothes. His eyes gaze toward the heavens. Back then, after the demonic cult disbanded, I was drowning in defeat. The weight of failure was so heavy I would have given up, if not for the goal I clung to. His head lowers. If I hadn't discovered the Great Regression Technique, what would have happened to me? Just then, his instincts flare. He senses something, a dark red aura. Turning slightly, he freezes. His reflection shines in the gleam of a sword hovering at his neck. He stares, sweat rolling down his brow. A blade? Behind him, crouched low and poised to strike, is the Blood Heaven's Bladesman, eyes glowing crimson. He's already here. I didn't expect him to arrive so quickly, our protagonist thinks, swallowing hard. Can I dodge it? No, not in my current state. My inner energy's too weak. Then the blade lowers. The Blood Heaven's Bladesman sits beside him. The sword rests calmly across his lap. For a long moment, neither speaks. Then, "Why did you do it?" the Bladesman asks with cool indifference. Still sweating, our protagonist responds, "He acted like a fool." The Bladesman closes his eyes, smirking. "So you picked a fight? With the heavenly demon's youngest son who doesn't give a damn about fools?" Silence. Then suddenly, swish. The Bladesman kicks his sword into the air and catches it, blade once again leveled at our protagonist's neck. "Shall I cut off your head and show it to the heavenly demon? Shall we see if he cares?" Our protagonist steadies his breath. "I don't think your sword could cut through me. Not if you think about my father's terrifying eyes." The Bladesman studies him, then closes his eyes. Swoosh, swoosh. He slashes his blade twice into the ground, leaving two deep intersecting gashes. Dust swirls. Our protagonist looks down at the cross carved into the earth. "What is this?" the Bladesman mutters. "If this mark shows how much the heavenly demon cares, this small part belongs to you. I take the majority." He rises slowly. The cross etched in the dirt glows under the moonlight. The two men lock eyes in tense silence. Slowly, our protagonist lowers his gaze to the X-shaped mark carved into the ground by the great sword. He drags his finger along the shorter side, his side. "I'm his son after all. I probably matter at least this much," he mutters. He shifts his finger farther down the longer side. "I'm 7. You're 3, he says with a smirk, glancing up at the Blood Heaven's Bladesman. The old man chuckles. "We'll know once we test it. Think he'll kill me or let me walk if I return with just your head in my arms?" The blade rests heavy in his grip, energy swirling at his feet. "You underestimate the love of a father," our protagonist replies. Crimson energy begins to radiate off the Bladesman. His eyes glow with bloodlust. He lifts his sword and steps forward. "Then let's test that out." Hair rising, breath caught, our protagonist remains on one knee, frozen. A wave of pressure surges behind him. He turns his head slowly. Crimson aura pulses past him like a tidal wave. "There's no need to test it," he says calmly, voice steady despite the fear in his eyes. "He has 2 sons, and there's only one of you." The Bladesman pauses. Then he laughs. "Not as foolish as my disciple." The pressure fades. He rests his massive blade on his shoulder. Our protagonist rises, brushing dirt from his sleeping robes. "If your disciples were anything like you, he'd still be alive." "Second young master," the Bladesman mutters, turning his back. "I've lived a life of misfortune. I hope we don't meet often." Our protagonist nods, sweat beads on his brow. "I'll remember that." In the blink of an eye, swoosh, The Bladesman is gone. Our protagonist looks up. The moon hangs high. Wind whispers across the courtyard. He watches the fading silhouette of the Bladesman vanish across the rooftops. Still standing near the stone bench, our protagonist lifts his robe and winces. 2 bruised dark marks sting on his side. These were from earlier. When he asked me why I did it, he realizes. His fists clench. That cursed old man. He looks into the distance, the silver moonlight bathing him in a quiet glow. The Blood Heaven's Bladesman might look like a wild beast, but he's a calculating monster. Every action, every word is measured. He presses a palm to the bruises. The fact that he repeated twice that he'd carry only my head, he really considered it. He wasn't bluffing. He remembers the grin. He came to see me. My fight with his disciple left an impression, and then I made that strange wish to hunt with Father. Leaves dance in the wind, swirling above the manor. He needed to test me, especially since I killed his disciple. Our protagonist stares into the void, eyes sharp as blades. He came here to see if I'm fit to become the successor. His jaw clenches. Is my first true opponent the Blood Heaven's Bladesman? The screen fades to black. We pick back up in our protagonist's room. He sits cross-legged, cultivating a deep blue aura pulsing from his body. As the camera slowly pulls back, we see the immense energy filling the space, serene yet powerful. A thin stream of aura detaches and stretches into a line, glowing softly. Before he can finish, his instincts jolt him. His eyes snap open, sensing a presence. He looks up to the roof and then, in a blink, leaps atop it. There, under the silver moonlight, stands his father, the heavenly demon wrapped in his majestic white and crimson robes. Father, he calls out, uncertain. The heavenly demon doesn't move. He casts only a side glance. I heard you killed the disciple of the Blood Heaven Sword Demon. The manga has changed its title from Bladesman to Sword Demon. We cut to a wide shot of the manor. Father and son face each other on opposite rooftops, the night sky stretching endlessly above them. The wind touzles our protagonist's hair as he answers. Yes, his disciple was deserving of death. The heavenly demon turns slightly, voice cold. Whether he deserved to die or not doesn't matter. The Blood Heaven Sword Demon has come to see me about it. What? He wants you to receive punishment. Our protagonist is stunned. He asked you to punish me? Indeed, it was unexpected. He's not one to care over the death of a mere disciple. Silence. The gears in our protagonist's mind turn. He's testing us. He wants to see if Father would punish me. And how. He wants to know if Father considers me a real successor candidate. Then his father says it. So I intend to punish you. What? There's no justification for that. Justification can be made. The heavenly demon pauses. You asked me during our hunt which demon supreme I trust the most. Yes, he remembers it vividly. The flickering firelight, the scent of roasting boar, and that unanswered question. Back then, Father said nothing. Now he answers. I don't trust anyone, not even the demon supremes. Shock flashes across our protagonist's face. You said hierarchy and discipline must be upheld in the cult, Father continues. Don't give me empty words about purging corruption. I want your true thoughts. Our protagonist lowers his gaze. The wind rustles his robes. I feel like somewhere along the way we've lost the part of the demon. Father stiffens. The part of the demon? Yes. What does that mean to you? It means our belief that only we, the cult, have the power to defeat absolute evil. The heavenly demon's expression tightens. The orthodox factions aren't our enemy, our protagonist continues. Absolute evil is the kind of evil that even demons would turn from in disgust. He sees a towering shadow loom over terrified silhouettes, crimson eyes glaring. Justice and chivalry may be able to deal with lesser evils, but not that. Because the orthodox sects forgive, they value people, and that makes them incapable of confronting true evil. He lifts his eyes, fiery with purpose. But we can. We are the only ones in Murim who can fight evil by becoming more wicked than evil itself. His aura surges. When the great evil that even the orthodox sects can't handle finally kneels before us, that is when we will have truly achieved the part of the demon. The heavenly demon remains silent, the moonlight casting long shadows across his face. If we can't become that, our protagonist continues, we'll fall. We must punish ourselves so we can survive. The two stare at each other across the rooftops, the cold wind cutting between them. He thinks to himself, Father has never heard anything like this, and I know it because I never knew it either, not until I lived a lifetime wandering the Central Plains. Any more arrogant thoughts? His father suddenly calls. Startled, our protagonist straightens. No, that should suffice. I think I know now why the Blood Heaven Sword Demon wants me to punish you, the heavenly demon said calmly, gazing across the rooftop at his son. Our protagonist stood still, the weight of his father's words pressing down on him. Look, the heavenly demon continued, he sees something in you, and he wants to use me to test you. Lowering his head, the son responded, I guess he saw a possibility of me becoming a successor candidate. Or, his father replied, maybe he sees you as someone who's bound to ruin our cult. He smirked faintly. Whichever it is, that old man sure has a good eye for spotting the extraordinary. The wind rustled between them, silence stretching for a moment before the heavenly demon suddenly turned. Follow me, he commanded. Where are we going this late? The son called, surprised as his father leapt from the roof. In another location, a massive stone tablet stood upright before a towering mountain etched with ancient runes, Minor Heaven Cave. The father and son stood before a sealed steel door embedded at the mountain's base, shadowed by trees that reached for the skies. The Minor Heaven Cave, the son thought, eyes locked on the tablet. This was the trial ground, a place meant for those worthy of inheriting the title of Heavenly Demon. Children of the Heavenly Demon or chosen disciples would enter. Those who couldn't pass would be trapped forever within. Going in is easy, but failing the trial means never returning, he thought. His heart pounded. The success rate was razor thin. Only half of the blood-related candidates ever emerged. Even my overly ambitious brother never dared to mention entering this place, he thought, recalling the silhouette of the brother he had yet to confront. But to become the heavenly demon, this place was unavoidable. He clenched his fists. Are you asking me to go into this place? He asked his father, staring at the steel doors. I also went in around your age, his father replied. How long did it take you to come out? 2 months. Shock swept across the son's face. A bead of sweat trickled down his temple. Father is known as the most talented martial artist among all the heavenly demons in history, and even he needed 2 months. His father continued, I was the only one who made it out in 2 months. The rest took an average of 3 years. He stepped closer to the cave's doors, his presence as intimidating as ever. And you want me to go into such a place without any preparation at all? The son asked. Didn't I tell you I intend to punish you? The heavenly demon replied without hesitation. The son's thoughts churned. Father, are you really sending me into a place where I might die just to appease the Blood Heaven Sword Demon? Do you truly not care if your own son dies? Or are you hoping I'll survive and become stronger? He looked up at his father's unwavering gaze, and a small grin curled at the corner of his lips. All right, he said, determination blazing in his eyes. Since it's come to this, I'll try to come out even earlier than you did. His father smirked. Just try to keep yourself alive. And with that, the trial of the Minor Heaven Cave began. We slowly see our protagonist now inside the Minor Heaven Cave, walking cautiously on the concrete floor. A massive hallway stretches out ahead, illuminated by glowing turquoise lamps on either side. As he glances around, his thoughts echo in the silence. Just how terrible is this place for so many people to get stuck in here, he wonders. At the end of the corridor, he sees a doorway leading into another shadowy chamber. As he steps into the next room, the eerie glow of ancient lamps reveals its size. His eyes land on one of the nearby stone pillars, etched with instructions. Cut down all your enemies without using sword aura or enhanced sword aura. If you cannot succeed within the time limit, you shall be given another chance 10 days later. Those who are ready stand within the crimson circle. Reading silently, he frowns. 10 days later? I'm supposed to eat those grain balls while I stay here? he grumbles, glancing at 2 large jars filled to the brim with grain balls. No need to waste any more time, he mutters. Stepping confidently into the crimson circle, he braces himself. Suddenly, the floor rumbles and mechanical groans echo through the room. Dozens of training dummies begin to emerge from hidden panels in the ground, each marked with a red target. Looks like I'm supposed to slash where the red marks are, he deduces. Without hesitation, he lunges forward. His movements are swift and precise, slicing through the dummies like a dance of steel. Slash, slash, slash. Each strike lands exactly on the target. He moves with intensity, weaving and darting among the enemies. The dummies are tougher than expected. They're tougher than I thought, he mutters, panting as he lands on the far side of the room. Turning, he realizes more dummies are emerging, and worse, some are retreating back into the floor. He rushes back, slicing 2, 3, 4, but sees 3 slipping down. With a burst of energy, he lunges, sliding across the stone and catching them in the nick of time. The last one, he shouts, spotting a lone dummy nearly hidden in the shadows. With one explosive push off the ground, his sword flashes, swoosh, clean through the final target. He lands in a cloud of dust, chest heaving. Whew, he exhales, wiping sweat from his brow. I almost had to spend another 10 days here because I let my guard down for a second. Surveying the broken dummies strewn across the floor, he reflects. It would have been impossible for me to get through this trial with my skills before I regressed. A low rumble interrupts his thoughts. Another stone door grinds open ahead. He steps forward, entering a new corridor, and pauses as he spots another tablet covered in inscriptions. I succeeded in 9 tries. I did it in 16 tries. I ended up taking 37 trials. Will I die in this place? I really can't get past here. Damn it, I tried to go back, but there's no way out. I succeeded in just 6 tries. I consider myself to be the strongest. His eyes drift to the final scribble at the bottom. Idiots. He chuckles. Although he's not wrong, I can't believe he berated our ancestors. Beyond the corridor lies another room, vast and lined wall to wall, floor to ceiling, with swords, spears, and other weapons, each displayed like relics. The turquoise glow bathes everything in an ethereal light. Ahead of him lies another crimson circle. He studies the chamber before his eyes fall on a new set of instructions engraved on a nearby pillar. Use the swords that are hung on the wall to split the stone in half within 2 hours. You may use sword aura or enhanced sword aura. If you cannot succeed within the time limit, you shall be given another chance 20 days later. Those who are ready stand within the crimson circle. Without hesitation, he walks straight to the circle and steps inside. The ground rumbles once again. A massive stone pillar begins to rise before him. 2 hours for this. That's too much time to just cut a single boulder in half, he muses. If I use enhanced sword aura, I could cut hundreds of these in 2 hours. But as he stares at the towering stone, something feels off. There must be a reason for the instruction, he says aloud, crossing his arms and resting a finger on his chin. The trial, he realizes, is more than it seems. Our protagonist clutches a sword from the wall and brings it down with a heavy swoosh. Bam! The blade crashes against the stone sphere, shattering in half, the broken piece spinning across the room. I guess just slashing it won't work, he mutters. He steps back and grabs a second blade. In that case, I'll use enhanced sword aura to cut this in half, and quickly move on to the next trial. A blue glow starts to encase the blade. His eyes shimmer with that same deep blue hue. He stands poised, staring down the stone sphere, but he pauses. It'd be too easy to pause like this, he says, lowering the blade slightly. He turns his head, eyes drifting toward a worn stone pillar at the back of the room. I split it in half in one try using enhanced sword aura. I tried 89 times to cut it without aura. Failed every time. I cut it without aura. Just how did he do that? Liar. No one can do that. If there's heat, you lose. If there's heat, you lose, he repeats, narrowing his eyes. The last line. It's signed with a single mark. His father's. That makes him pause. That's unlike father. He usually just mocks others outright, but here, he thinks back, you may use sword aura or enhanced sword aura, not must. So the true path must lie in not using them at all. The realization sharpens in his mind. And that line, If there's heat, you lose. Father was warning me. He walks back to the stone, picks up another sword, and strikes. Clang, the blade snaps. He grabs an axe. Thud, no damage. A hammer. Boom, nothing. Panting now, sweat running down his face, he stares at the orb in frustration. I can't even leave a scratch. How do I split this thing without enhanced sword aura? The clock in his mind ticks. Time's almost up. He clenches his jaw. Should I just use aura and be done with it? But his thoughts go back to his father, to that silent stare, that unshakable confidence. And in that moment, it clicks. His eyes widen. Could it be? He centers his stance, breathes in. Energy pulses from his core and snakes outward. A fine, delicate thread of inner energy. It slithers toward the stone sphere, wrapping around it, coiling tighter like a spider sensing the world through its web. And then, there, a faint groove, a tiny seam circling the orb invisible to the naked eye. I can feel it, a perfect circular weak point, hidden in plain sight. Eyes closed, he raises the blade one last time. This isn't an illusion! Swoosh. A single clean cut. Silence. The orb cleaves in half. A clean, flawless cut through stone. He stands on the other side, sword lowered, chest rising and falling. Joy washes over his face. I did it. But something glows from within the halved stone. He walks closer, eyes narrowing. A purple shimmer. He leans in. That's a demonic essence pill. A look of awe flashes across his face. So that's why the true trial was to do it without aura. The reward was hidden inside the method itself. We open on our protagonist standing in a quiet chamber, the demonic essence pill glowing in his hand. If a demonic human who's learned demonic martial arts consumes this, he stares at the swirling purple light within the pill. They gain an incredible surge of energy. He smiles faintly. If I used enhanced sword aura to split that stone, he envisions it exploding. The heat would have triggered the pill and destroyed it. He closes his hand over it. This is a reward for those who understand the deeper meaning behind the trial. He recalls the message etched by his father. If there's heat, you lose. He raises the pill to his lips. Thanks, Father. He swallows it, then drops to the floor, cross-legged, and begins to cultivate. A brilliant purple aura erupts from his body. Energy spirals around him, filling the entire room in a mesmerizing dance of light. His eyes snap open. He exhales slowly, then rises to his feet, flexing his hand, power crackling just beneath his skin. I can feel it now, a strength in this body I never had before. The one thing I lacked most, energy, I now possess. As blue aura pulses around him, he strides into the next chamber. A new pillar stands at its center, etched with 3 lines. Differentiate life and death. If you fail, you shall be given another chance 5 days later. Those who are ready stand within the crimson circle. He frowns, one hand under his chin. Differentiate life and death? What kind of trial is this? Still, he steps forward, entering the crimson circle. Rumble. A small table rises from the floor, stone grinding as it settles in place. He looks down. A selection of plants and herbs are laid out. A flicker of understanding crosses his face. This trial, it's testing whether I can distinguish between medicinal herbs and deadly poisons. He smirks. In my past life, I spent years scouring the world for the ingredients Jeong requested. Images flash. Him climbing a jagged cliff, diving deep into dark waters, picking rare flowers under moonlight. I learned every herb and poison. This trial is nothing to me. He reaches out and confidently selects a single plant. This is the only one that's not poisonous. As soon as he makes his choice, the table sinks back into the floor. Another pillar rises. He folds his arms, amused. So they want a second test just in case someone got lucky the first time. Again, a set of herbs appear. Those who don't know will have to eat the herbs and suffer the consequences to learn. He chuckles to himself. One by one, he identifies the correct plants, and each time the pillar disappears back into the ground. Then, silence. Nothing else? Moments later, a door creaks open at the far end of the room. He walks forward, entering the next hallway. Another stone pillar awaits him, this one covered with carved comments. I'll become a poisonous human at this rate. What kind of idiot made this trial? I succeeded on the 96th try. I'm tearing up. I lost so much hair from eating all that poison. Don't count on something like luck, Father. Reading that last one, he smirks. So Father remembered everything he ate from the very first test. He walks forward into the next chamber, a quiet confidence in his step. Fortunately, we both managed to keep our hair. We return to our protagonist standing before the next pillar, its title etched clearly, The Law's Trial. Survive the illusory life and death trap formation. If you die in the trap formation, you will actually die. Those who are ready stand within the crimson circle. He narrows his eyes at the final line. A trial where I actually die if I fail. Before stepping into the circle, he walks toward a secondary stone tablet, scanning the comments left by those who came before. It was a really tough fight. When I become the heavenly demon, I'll kill the one who created this formation. It was terrifying. I'll never step into this thing again. Then right at the bottom, his father's words, don't rest. He frowns. Is that a warning or advice on how I should live from now on? Without hesitation, he steps into the crimson circle. The world trembles. A vortex of light surrounds him. The cave dissolves. He is transported to a barren wasteland. Dead trees, jagged rock, dust swirling through dry, cold wind. He touches the ground, feels the coarse sand. His eyes widen. Wind? This feels real? Suddenly, shuffling sounds. He turns and sees them. Hundreds of undead closing in from all directions, armor clanking, eyes glowing, weapons raised. He exhales. Illusions or not, they're going to try and kill me. Then a smile. Perfect, I don't have to hold back. He unsheathes his sword, steel glinting under the gray sky. They charge, spears, blades, fangs. He dodges the first, pivots, and drives his sword up through an undead's jaw. Another lunges. He flips over them, landing with precision. Since they're not human, I can cut loose. He focuses. Blue energy flares from his body. Swoosh! A glowing slash of energy cuts across the battlefield. Undead bodies fall, cleaved in half. Thanks to the demonic essence pill, I can wield energy more freely now. But then, more come. The horde surges. Hundreds more, faster, stronger. His face hardens. He breathes in, then exhales slowly. Energy floods from him like a river, wrapping his sword in pure blue light. Then, slash-ah! A single blur of movement. Hundreds of slashes erupt from his blade, unseen by the eye. Blue lines trace across the enemy, from head to toe, across weapons, through armor. Then, silence. A beat. Then the undead collapse all at once. Blood sprays. Bodies fall apart in a synchronized, explosive chorus of death. Our protagonist stands alone, in the eye of the storm, sword in hand, calm. The field fades. The corpses vanish. He's left standing, in the dust. Is it over? A moment of quiet. Then, step. Another step. He smiles. So, it's not over after all. More undead emerge, but these are different. Clad in armor, holding bows, halberds, and tower shields. Their killing intent is heavier, their energy more refined. He straightens his stance. His grip tightens. This next wave is on a whole different level. The battle erupts. Steel clashes, bones shatter. Our protagonist slices through the tide of undead with a blade gleaming like starlight. An arrow whistles toward him. He ducks at the last second, rolling to the side, breath ragged, chest rising and falling. They're getting stronger, he mutters, wiping the sweat from his brow. A skeletal warrior in plated armor swings at him. Clang! He sidesteps, barely avoiding the blade's arc. I understand it now, what don't rest really means, he says, darting between blows, piercing a skull and spinning to decapitate another. This is the first battle that truly feels real since my regression. He flows like wind, dancing through carnage, slashing throats, splitting torsos, piercing jaws. The undead press harder, faster. But something has changed. My insights from my past life, they're finally fusing with this body. He flips through the air, landing behind a skeletal knight, blade thrusting through its skull. Hundreds of tiny daggers slice through the air toward him. He swings his sword in a crescent arc, deflecting every single one. His eyes lock onto a hooded undead, the one throwing the blades. He lunges. Slash. The figure collapses in two. "Come at me!" he roars, drenched in sweat and fury. Faster. Stronger. They come, one after another. He cleaves them all. The final warrior steps forward, taller, heavier, eyes glowing red. Slash. A brutal upward cut tears through its torso and face. It collapses. Silence falls. Our protagonist falls to one knee, sword plunged into the ground. He's barely standing. Around him, a sea of corpses. Then they vanish, dust and ashes carried off by the wind. Is it over? He is transported. The room reforms. A new pillar stands in front of him. Congratulations on passing the trial safely. I hope your strength will be used for the advancement and prosperity of the Heavenly Demon Divine Cult. He smiles faintly. I did it. But then, his eyes narrow, it only took me a single day when it took my father an entire month. He frowns. If people find out, it'll stir chaos. Instead of praise, they'll question it. He exhales deeply. I'll stay here. I'll train. I'll fully digest the insights I gained in this cave and make them mine. A few days pass. The Heavenly Demon Manor gleams beneath a brilliant blue sky. Inside the Grand Hall, the Heavenly Demon sits upon his throne, regal and unmoving. You took exactly 100 days, he says, voice echoing through the chamber. Not bad. Standing below, our protagonist bows his head. I did my best, but I couldn't break your record, he admits. Did you split the stone the proper way? The Heavenly Demon asks, eyes narrowed. Naturally. You left such an obvious hint, he says, and I didn't rest at all during the final illusion trial. The Heavenly Demon smirks. Just briefly. Then the expression vanishes. Did he just smile? Our protagonist wonders, stunned. Looks like you're not a complete fool, his father says dryly. Of course not. I am the great Heavenly Demon's son, after all, he replies with pride. A small huff escapes the Heavenly Demon. Silence settles between them. Our protagonist reflects. Before I regressed, I thought he took joy in watching his children battle to the death for succession, but now I see it. He pictures his father. Standing atop a mountain, white and red robes whipping in the wind, dragon embroidery gleaming like fire. He isn't someone who delights in our suffering. He's simply willing to endure our deaths for the sake of the cult. A voice interrupts the moment. To think you passed the Minor Heaven Cave in just 100 days. Second young master, that's incredible. Our protagonist turns. Standing beside the Heavenly Demon is a man in sage robes, calm yet formidable. He's the second in command of the cult, the man my father trusts most. This is Dash, Chief Advisor Sima Myung. It's been a while, Advisor Sima, our protagonist says, respectfully bowing. The throne room hangs in silence. Chief Advisor Sima Myung descends the steps, his sage robe flowing softly with each measured step. I'm glad I saw you here, he says solemnly, eyes fixed on the second son of the Heavenly Demon. I wanted to discuss something with you, about the cult. Our protagonist lifts his gaze slightly, then casts a subtle glance toward his father on the throne. He wants to talk to me about cult matters? That means Father sent him. The Heavenly Demon remains still, his gaze unwavering from the throne above. Sima Myung stops before our protagonist. Recently we received an anonymous letter. He speaks calmly, but the weight in his words sharpens the air. It claimed that there's ongoing corruption within the demonic army. That single word, corruption, hits hard. Our protagonist's eyes narrow, his mind racing. The demonic army, one of our cult's elite combat divisions. Its commander is the blood sibling of the Blood Heaven Sword Demon. So, he's involved again. Images flash. Towering halls of the demonic army, crimson banners whipping in the wind, gilded stones soaked in blood and tradition. This isn't the first letter, the chief advisor continues. Last year we received one too. We investigated a beat. But our special investigation officer was killed. By the demonic army? Our protagonist asks quietly. Seema nods. And the one who killed him committed suicide shortly after. A heavy silence settles in the chamber. Seema then steps forward. I'd like you to take on the role of special investigation officer and personally handle this matter. The weight of that request sinks in. This is dangerous. In our cult, those found guilty of corruption are executed. And those involved will kill to hide their crimes, even if the one investigating is the heavenly demon's own son. You're sending me into a death trap? The protagonist finally asks. That's right, Seema responds, calm but resolute. You'll have to put your life on the line for this mission. The young warrior's eyes shift. Upward to the man who sits atop the red-carpeted dais, the heavenly demon. Another test. Is that what this is? From the throne, the heavenly demon's voice booms. Didn't you say you'd hold them by their leashes? Our protagonist clenches his jaw. That's when I become the heavenly demon, he answers. Are you saying you're too afraid to do it now? His father fires back. The words strike deep. He lowers his gaze, sweat dripping down his cheek. I can't refuse. Not when he says it like this. He raises his head, face half lit by the chamber's glow, hand on his sword. Understood. I'll accept the mission. The two men, father and son, lock eyes. No more words, only the silence of unspoken expectation. Then, a slight smirk crosses the protagonist's lips as he exhales. Whatever you're planning, father, I'll play my role well. And one more thing, he says, shifting slightly. Since this might be my last mission, I'd like to have a drink with you. The heavenly demon says nothing. Instead, he rises from his throne, turns, and walks away, his dragon-stitched robes trailing like smoke. The hall echoes with his footsteps. Seema and the young master stand in silence as their ruler departs. Finally, our protagonist mutters with a faint smile. He acts tough on the outside, but he does care. Seema glances at him skeptically. Didn't look like that to me. Noonlight blankets the land. The demonic army manor looms beneath it. Red pillars rising high, etched with ancient markings. Lanterns casting a dim glow on the tiled rooftops. We move into the courtyard. Footsteps echo across polished stone. A disheveled man stands near the entrance, shoulders slumped, clad in a wrinkled yellow robe. Two thick books hang at his side and a lifeless gaze clouds his eyes. He bows, barely lifting his head. Nice to meet you. I am the Special Investigation Officer, Seo Daryong, from the Nirvana Pavilion. Across from him stands our protagonist, tall, composed, eyes sharp as ever. A beat of silence passes between them. Why are you here? Our protagonist finally asks, deadpan. I told the chief advisor to send the most beautiful woman from the Nirvana Pavilion. Seo Daryong blinks slowly, then offers a flat joke. I guess I look like the most beautiful woman in his eyes. Our protagonist sighs, his arms folding across his chest in annoyance. Whatever, let's just get to work. He walks past the emotionless Seo, who slowly turns and follows. Are we leaving right now? Seo asks, his voice low. Yes, the protagonist replies curtly. The two begin walking down the narrow crimson hallway, lined with old scrolls and flickering lanterns. As they move, the investigation begins. What kind of person is the demonic army commander? Our protagonist asks. Seo's reply is soft but informative. His name is Gu Cheon-yang. He's the younger brother of Gu Cheon-pa, the Blood Heaven sword demon. They continue walking. This is his 8th year commanding the demonic army, Seo adds. They've taken on the most dangerous missions and have risen to elite status. Our protagonist listens carefully, eyes focused ahead. So they're good at their job, he concludes. Seo nods. That's right. At the base of a marble staircase, our protagonist stops. Turns slightly, just enough to cast a long look at Seo, who halts behind him. What is it? Seo asks. The stare remains. Do you actually intend to investigate the corruption of the demonic army? Our protagonist asks. His voice is sharp, stern. SEO responds blankly, I intend to do so. Still, no change in expression, no passion, just emptiness. Why do you look like that? The protagonist asks, frowning. You talk like nothing matters. I can't feel any enthusiasm from you. SEO doesn't blink. Because even if we uncover corruption, nothing will change. The words float like dead air. Our protagonist stays quiet, his thoughts stirring beneath his calm expression. Does he mean unless the executives of the cult change, nothing else will? He exhales, turns back around. Are you not scared? He throws the question over his shoulder. Not at all, Seo replies instantly. A smirk tugs at our protagonist's lips. Is that so? He says, even though the previous special investigation officer died? SEO stares at him now, still blank, but his words cut deep. That officer was my direct superior, he says softly. The words hang in the air like a blade. He was the person who used to teach me. The two men stop walking, face to face. Our protagonist stares, his eyes full of new weight. Seo Daryong looks back at him, expression unchanged, yet everything unspoken lingering in his gaze. A silence that says more than words ever could. Two warriors, one mission, but behind the cult's iron curtain lies a rot far deadlier than blades. Will Jeong and Seo uncover the truth, or be buried with it? Find out in the next episode. But before you go, don't forget to tap like if you enjoyed the episode, subscribe for more epic recaps, turn on notifications so you never miss a chapter. And with that being said, Manhwa Champions, we're going to bring this video to an end. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I will catch you all later. Peace.